Friday, the 21st of February, 2025 at Protestia Studios. This is an intelligence briefing coming to you from Protestia.com, where, as always, go to find the latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. Sign up for our insurgency email blast and support us financially over at patreon.com/Protestia by becoming a Protestia Insider. Join us on Thursday nights for the Insider Roundtable, where we talk about all of these issues face-to-face over Zoom. You can ask questions and really have input on what we're going to report about and talk about next, if you would be so kind. You also get ad-free browsing on the website. With as many complaints as I get about ads on the website, ad-free browsing is a good little perk. Starts at $5.95 a month over at patreon.com/Protestia. Let's get into the headlines. First headline: a year after Lakewood Church shooting, Houston police turn over investigation for grand jury to hear. On February 11th, 2024, Genesee Moreno, who's pictured here, right there, that's her mug shot, entered Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church with an AR-15 and opened fire, causing people to flee and take cover. Minutes later, she was dead. 2 people were injured, including a 57-year-old man who was shot in the hip, as well as the shooter's 7-year-old son, Samuel, who she brought with her and who was shot in the head in the crossfire. As soon as the shooting began, off-duty officers attending Lakewood instantly started toward the gunfire, with one saying, "We need to approach. Father, be with us. Forgive our sins." Later, after a round of gunfire, Moreno could be heard screaming, "You killed my son, and stand down, I have a bleeping bomb." Samuel survived the shooting, that's her son, after multiple surgeries and after spending weeks in the critical care unit. Now, a year after the incident, the Houston Police Department has turned over its investigation to the District Attorney's Office, where it will be presented to a grand jury who will be reviewing the actions of Houston Police Officer Christopher Moreno and Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission Officer Adrian Herrera, both who were involved in the shooting, to determine if any charges will be brought against them. We'll be following this story. You can read more about this over at Protestia.com. Next headline: nightmare scenario. SBC plans to spend $3 million in cooperative funds on sex abuse legal bills in fulfillment of years of warning from prescient Southern Baptists, some here at Protestia, of course, that caving to the emotional manipulation and blackmail from bad faith actors about sexual abuse in the convention would be disastrous. Yesterday, the SBC's executive committee members, this was announced by EC President Jeff Orge, approved their 2025-2026 cooperative program allocation budget, including $3 million set aside in, quote, priority allocation to pay for anticipated legal costs related to defending against sex abuse cases in the coming year, with another anticipated $3 million for the year after, a whopping $18 million in funds spent or allocated for the foreseeable future. Though led to believe that sex abuse was a massive crisis in the SBC and its 47,000 member churches, new numbers show this was not the case. After creating a sex abuse hotline in early May 2022, the number received 1,008 contacts, 458 of those alleging abuse inside SBC churches, I should say, going back an indeterminate amount of time. While any abuse is a tragedy, this still represents less than 1%. Of those less than 1% of the claims, it is not known how many are legitimate claims of sexual abuse. Jeff Orge noted that the bulk of those contacts came in the first 4 months to address a backlog of concerns regarding ongoing reporting. In the last 2 years, they have averaged around 7 abuse claims per month, representing 0.0014% of SBC churches, assuming 1 complaint per church. Similarly, it is unknown how many of those claims are legitimate and involve actual abuse. We have a lot of this information and a lot of this quoted and transcribed in our article, including some tweeted discussions about all of it from SBC conservatives like myself who've been following this very closely, but you can read more about it over at Protestia.com. Next headline: Institute for Christian Studies, ICS, cuts ties with the CRCNA after denomination bans queer affirmation. The Institute for Christian Studies has voted to cut ties with the Christian Reformed Church after the denomination banned queer affirmation as a matter of binding doctrine, according to a press release by the now exposed as liberal organization. The ICS is a, quote, community-supported graduate school in the Kuyperian stream of the Reformed tradition, according to them, in Toronto, Ontario, that has spent the last 50 years promoting a radically Christian approach to the scholarly task in interdisciplinary philosophy and theology, developing leaders for the academy and other areas of service, and enhancing the cultural discernment of believers. That's a description from their website. Founded by several prominent CRCNA pastors, the About page reads, "We continue to prepare new generations who will birth ideas that move the Christian community closer to the Lord, Lord of all, and breathe the air of the Holy Bible and of the Christ therein." And they describe their approach to scholarship as reformational, meaning they work as conscious heirs to the stream in the Reformed intellectual tradition that goes by this name, also described as Kuyperian or Neo-Calvinist. Second, we seek to engage the schools of thoughts and cultural movements such as Thomism, postmodernism, liberalism, pragmatism, critical theory, and feminism with critical fairness to learn from their insights, as well as to counter their distortions of truth. You can read more about this over at protestia.com, but it is very interesting that the ICS was started by CRCNA pastors, and now they are abandoning their connection with the denomination. Really because the denomination said, "Hey guys, we're not doing this. We're not going to affirm homosexuality," is basically what it comes down to. You can read more about this over at Protestia. Next headline: how freaky do you want to get? Pastor Paul White giggles while husband recommends couples watch porn together. Say it isn't so. I'm not sure how old this clip is, but let's watch just a little bit.
Going to be one big happy family. Wait till we get to your sex life. We're just starting right now. I realize the kids are in here. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Pastor Doug.
Well, I think too, women have to, or don't have to, but women should look at a man. And
so first of all, we can see how old this actually. This is about 10 years old, maybe a little bit less than 10 years old.
Find out what turns them on. I mean, and you can talk about this. This is something that, how freaky do you want to get? You know what I mean? And if you don't have that conversation with your man, if you don't have that conversation, then you're not fulfilling everything that he really truly wants. And so this part, the sexual fulfillment, comes with deep study within each other. You have to look inside and say, what turns you on? What is it that you like to do? And if you don't have that conversation, it's going to be broken sometime. And the other part of it is, ladies, if you don't know what he likes,
So it looks like a couple different clips going on here. It looks like the same day, maybe the next service.
Figure it out. Get a book. Go get some porn. Do something. Whatever. If he likes to watch porn with him. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to get where you're going to go. Figure it out.
Yeah, that's horrifying and unchristian and unbiblical, and no, you should not go watch porn with your husband to see what he likes. If he's into porn, just join him in the porn watching. That's pretty terrible. So far, we haven't seen any sort of response from quote unquote Pastor Paula White or her husband, and frankly don't really expect to. Read more about that over at protestia.com if you so dare. Next headline at Protestia: 74-year-old woman arrested, charged with violating abortion clinic's 650-foot buffer zone, facing $12,000 in fines. A 74-year-old senior citizen was arrested yesterday outside Queen Elizabeth University Hospital in Glasgow, Scotland, and charged with breaching the peace after she stood silently too close to the hospital with an anti-abortion sign that read, "Coercio is a crime." I confess I'm not sure even what that word means, but we're going to assume that this is talking about abortion or maybe coercing someone to have one. "Here to talk only if you want," was what her sign said. Coercion is a crime. Sorry, I misread that. Coercion is a crime. "Here to talk only if you want," she said, in defiance of the country's new pro-choice buffer laws. The new law, passed last September, prohibits any anti-abortion protester, even one holding a silent vigil, from going within 200 meters, that's 656 feet, of any abortion clinic in the country of Scotland, making this the first arrest in this particular legislation's history. You can read more about this over at Protestia, including there is a video link in here with further information about this. But suffice to say, Scotland is not a country that promotes free expression or free speech in the spirit of America, much like a lot of Western European nations. Read more about it over at Protestia. Next headline, the Oklahoma Abolition of Abortion Act, that's SB 456, fails to pass 2-6. An Oklahoma anti-abortion bill crafted by abolitionists that would have ended baby butchery in the state by providing equal protection of the laws to preborn children failed by a vote of 2-6 yesterday after pro-life Republicans voted against it. Abolish Abortion Oklahoma explains that it got 2 yes votes, 6 no votes. 4 of the no votes were Republican legislators who explicitly went against the will of the Oklahoma GOP, the Constitution, and most importantly, God's law. Yes, the argument over abortion abolition versus the pro-life movement is one we've wound up dragged into a little bit in our scuffle with Catholic pro-life, she calls herself pro-life, leader of Students for Action, Caitlin Hawkins, Kristen Hawkins, who was, sent us a cease and desist letter, and we told her to pound sand. Some of you may have seen that on social media. We would continue to take that stance as well, being strongly supportive of the First Amendment and freedom of speech. You can read more about this over at Protestia. Moving on, next headline, Patriarchy Hannah reveals all in late night interview, drugs, F-bombs, BDSM, feeling regretful. Late yesterday evening, Patriarchy Hannah, a popular online persona who made a name for herself as a dedicated Christian quote-unquote trad wife, would routinely share about her life as a mother of 14 children, husband to a carpenter named Tony, was exposed to be a complete fabrication. It was a grift and long con, with Hannah being exposed as a 37-year-old woman in Arkansas named Jennifer Bays, who had been running a Discord groups and Twitter spaces as the ultimate catfish. The vast majority of her life was fabricated entirely, much to the horror and betrayal of many women who had befriended her and spent years talking and texting together about their lives and families. The sad part about this, and I'll let you read the rest of this over at protestia.com, including we have some video of the space and whatnot and what she was saying, this person, whoever this person happens to be. But the sad part is it doesn't look like she's going anywhere. She's going to try to, reconstitute some sort of social media influence, I think, because really once you get addicted to the social media attention and persona and all that, it's really hard to let go. And because the attention is what you're there for, even if the attention comes by negative means, you still want the attention. So it's sad. I would recommend to people, just don't follow, don't listen, mute, block, whatever you got to do. Avoid that kind of thing and stick to paying attention to people that you can confirm at least reasonably are authentic people. Like us, like me. Next headline of Protestia. Last headline for this intelligence briefing. Church puts on sacred new name, new pronoun ceremony for trans congregants. Inclusive Gathering Birmingham, that's what they call it, seriously, is a, quote, diverse, justice-seeking, LGBTQIA plus affirming church for all, based in Brum's Gay Village. I don't know what Brum's Gay Village is, but it must be a place around Birmingham. According to their website, the Methodist Church in the UK, this is not Birmingham, Alabama, let's just put that out there. The Methodist Church in the UK financially supports them. Their commitment is to, quote, work towards radical inclusion, to create and cultivate a space where everyone is truly welcome, affirmed and celebrated in their race, ethnicity, sexuality, gender identity, ability, disability, and neurodiversity. We last wrote about them after they put on a Dolly Parton-themed church service based upon her life and all of that. And again, this is in the UK. I find it very interesting that it's a Dolly Parton thing, but whatever. Let's I know we have video of this over on our X account. I'm not going to bore you with it and play. Well, it's not boring, but I'm not going to. You've had enough terrible videos so far in this intelligence briefing. So I'm just going to leave it at that, but I want to thank you for joining us for these headlines. Stay tuned to protestia.com for all of the latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. We will talk to you again real soon. As always, Semper Reformanda.